All right. Hey, everyone. This is Jason and Christal. We're here with one of our entries for the cosplay, and he won Best in Show as Dr. Strange.
Sage Harkin. It's great to see you and meet you, Sage. And congratulations on winning Best in Show. That was an awesome cosplay that you had. And it looked so phenomenal. Tell us how you came about deciding to be Dr. Strange.
Well, I've been a craftsman and something of a hobby artist for a very long time. And I used to make Halloween costumes. And in this particular little city, the Halloween parties are a bit of a drag. So I was just about to give up for good. Then the Doctor Strange movie came out. You know, I kind of look like that guy. And actually my whiskers do not grow along these lines to where I have some of the natural goatee. So I dressed up, and then I went to a local, it's a video game arcade / bar for the party, and met a couple of guys who were doing cosplay with a local convention, which was SiouxperConline at the time, which has its last run was 2018. So they talked me into it. So I made some basic improvements. I just had a basic cape. I had a way too thick and hot bathrobe I used for the Doctor Strange robe. Just basic stuff. And I made some improvements. And then the following summer, there was SiouxperCon, and I got Best in Masterclass on that one, which is a combination of the show and the craftsmanship. So I thought, I'm kind of liking this. I might improve some more. And I was looking up conventions across the country, and the two nearest are Sioux Falls and Denver. So I made some improvements, and then I attended both of those. And well, even though I didn't win anything then, it still did a great deal for healing my inherent low self-esteem. I was just born with it. I used to be a super shy, super quiet kid. A little bit of
I can relate to that.
A little bit of ADD that I didn't know about for a couple of decades, several decades. They were just considered personalities back then. They didn't have labels for them.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the times have changed since, you know, from being when you were a child to how things are now. It just seems like this is more open to the community now than it is in the past.
Yeah. Try to get this in the picture.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, show off your work, man. It was really good. I mean, your efforts paid off, that's for sure.
This is actually a light that I put into it myself, which is a bicycle tire light.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, time alert, time alert.
So tell us how you constructed your suit, like what you did, how you learned to be able to piece it together to make it look so phenomenal.
Well, I grew up in one of those typical Catholic families. There was 8 of us kids. And my mother, just out of a hobby, she was quite an artist herself. And she made some of our clothes, like my first karate outfit, and stuff like that. And she taught us kids the basics of just mending holes in our clothes.
That's always a good habit.
Yeah. Why spend another $80 on a new pair of trousers when you can just patch it up and wear it on fishing trips for the next couple of years?
Right.
So, and then she was also a professional barber and stylist, and she used to experiment on us kids and make a few mistakes. I used to watch her like an eagle, and I picked up some tips. So I actually cut my own hair.
Nice.
Use a comb and electric razor, and that took some practice. I used to give myself flat tops, but I think I intimidated too many people. So it's nice to have a looser look now.
Well, it pays off for Dr. Strange look, so you did an awesome job on that.
Let's see, later on, high school, I studied industrial arts, including wood and metal. Metal for 2 years, wood for a year and a half. I was in the Boy Scouts for 7 years. There's lots of tinkering and skill set development through that. Then I went to an electronics school that, trying to avoid this story, but it did get in trouble and get shut down. So ITT Tech, I had a high score, but they were gypping us students. That was back in '87.
Oh, no.
But I learned some extra solid state electronics, which I put into calculating the battery power, which goes into my LED hologram display fan. There's an awful lot that goes into all of this. I figured I might have a few pictures here in front of me, which I use for smaller conventions to show the judges what's going into this. Now the wing piece on the cloak of levitation on the collar, mailbox numbers.
Yeah, we saw that when you posted them. That's pretty clever to see that would work.
Extremely clever. I was wondering when I first seen the photo, I was like, how did he get it to look like that? And then we seen that it was a mailbox number. So I was like, that's crafty. That's a great craft.
Well, the best thing I've noticed, like I watch YouTube of cosplayers build stuff, and they'll just find random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go garage selling. They'll find the deals from like the stores for Halloween props, and just tear it apart and use it for something else. And that's exactly what you did there. So
Let's see if I can hold this up right. My sling ring was a little too small, and I needed another plastic piece to extend it.
mm-hmm.
So I cut the top off of a Folgers coffee container.
Nice.
And trimmed that, and it had some impression. The name was impressed into it. So I figured if I just cut off a section, they won't be able to read Folgers. It'll just look like a pattern, a random pattern.
Yep.
Just glued it on and used a gold paint pen, fill that in.
See, that's where the craft comes in. You take what you can get to make something different.
Oh, I got to thank my mother's parents when I was a kid, because my grandfather was German and a master mechanic, and my grandmother had ideas about, well, let's just give these kids anything, let them use their imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'd visit, they'd give us popsicle sticks and glue and toothpicks and egg cartons, and here, make something. And we did. Made a lot of our own toys.
Hey, it allows your imagination to run wild so you can come up with your own stuff. And it paid off in the future.
That, kids, is how you prevent boredom.
That's right.
Develop your imagination. Then as far as my timepiece, I actually am a bit of a rock hound too. And here in the Black Hills area, I actually dig up a few of my own rocks, and I had gotten a nice piece of gypsum. And I trimmed a piece down. It's very soft. And I made a little stone for my infinity gem and put that inside of this piece here. So it gives it a much better glow. Let's see. If I turn it just right, you can see it.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'd see it. That's cool.
definitely makes the realism come out.
Right?
Because I know you came to SiouxperCon 2018.
18. Yep.
Yep.
And we were able to see it up close, and it definitely looks just as good as it looks on, through the camera lens. So if anyone was kind of curious about that.
Definitely. When I seen it in 2018, I was like, is that him?
Yeah.
Are we getting like a surprise person
Definitely
here today?
had a double take.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely made some improvements. I finally got a decent pair of boots to go with it, pants that weren't baggy, really nice shirt. And I remade the collar on that cloak of levitation 5 times.
Oh, really?
2 years, yes. I just couldn't get that angle right. I bought the special edition of the Doctor Strange movie, and I watched the bonus features. which is everything that went into the making of it. And it is fantastic. That is just as entertaining as the movie itself. And the woman who made the cloak said that she had to make several different kinds for different scenes because they had to behave different ways. They had to flow or stay on or hold up. And even online, I was with a cosplay group, a Doctor Strange cosplay group on Facebook, and everybody was looking for the cloak patterns and nobody had any. And someone actually had to sketch one out one time and finally shared that with the public. But by then I had done my own stuff. But the angles and the design on it are so asymmetrical that it's very, very hard to duplicate.
How did you get it to stay on?
Rare earth magnets.
Nice. I was
In the first shirt I put on, I took some extra cloth and I put it on the inside and stitched the cloth over it to hold it in place. And then I got the tunic, which goes over that. Thinking there's more to that. Well, pretty much like that. And then inside the cloak itself, I had to make sure I got the right polarity. So I've got one in the back behind the neck, and then two up here to hold it forward. And then I have to make sure my belt's tight enough to hold my shirt down. Otherwise, the weight of the cloak will pull my shirt up this way. Making me a bit of a nerdy Doctor Strange.
No, that's actually great because a lot of people use.
I'm here to save time.
Right.
What type of fabric did you use to make your outfit with?
Oh, we have a small fabric store here, so I didn't have much of a choice. I had to go for color and design first. So the inner layer is cotton. The outer layer is some kind of artificial material. It's a type of fleece, but it's more wool-like. It's not very soft at all, but it does have a nice texture to it, and it breathes really well. And I'm actually making a new cloak, and it's going to be blue. I saw an artist's conception.
Oh, wow.
I forgot I was supposed to look up the guy's name so I can give him credit. I am not copying his design, but he did an artistic depiction of Doctor Strange with a blue cloak of levitation, and the eyepiece was holding it and pinning it together, and it was more triangular or diamond shaped.
That'll be cool to see when you get it done.
Yeah, look forward to seeing that.
Definitely.
Like a preview.
Oh,
Yeah,
love that.
that'd
We
be
get
awesome.
a preview. Awesome.
Well, first of all, this cloth is the final stuff to put on. I really
Oh,
love the
it
sheen.
looks like a blue velvet.
And I got to use that to make the patterns on the back of this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that inside looks nice.
That looks cool.
Yes.
It's got quite a
Oh, it's
great
got like
shine
a
to it.
pattern to it.
Took a while to find a match to it. I got this
Oh,
holographic
yeah.
trim.
Yeah.
It's very stiff and papery. I had to pull the wire out of the ends here. It's along lengthwise down there. They had some kind of tin wire, and I thought that's going to cause me trouble later. And if I pack it away and it gets wrinkled, and try to bring it out again. I'm still putting that part of the collar together.
Oh, yeah.
And this material alone is about $50 a yard.
Oh, that's awesome. That has a pattern on it.
Yeah, it's textured. It's extremely soft too. It's
That's
used for
cool.
upholstery mostly.
Ah,
I got some teal trim there. Again, down at the bottom.
Oh, wow. That's going to look fabulous when you're done. You're going to look awesome. Is that what you're going to be for next year?
I like that.
Nice.
That looks nice. I like that.
Work. I had to stare at the collar design for an entire week. I'm trying to decide how to stitch it up. That was really tricky. Because first, like the original Cloak of Levitation, because of the way it sits on the body, I had to Okay, so the place where the head goes is slightly off center and then tilted slightly. And then I had to match that all up. Oh man, that's quite a puzzle. Then I had to stitch and unstitch it 2 times and finally get it pinned right to where I put it on, carefully put safety pins through it, try not to stab myself in the shoulder and the neck, and make a mark, take it off again, put extra pins and markers on it. Then I had to stitch. I had to fasten it on the front on both sides and then work the way back so that way it would take out any slack that I might develop.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
Yep, look forward to seeing that when it's finished.
Definitely.
So we do have a question here. Ellie's asking, do you have any ideas on what you'll make for your next cosplay project? I guess that would be it, or you got something else maybe in the works?
I have 2 good ideas. One's going to be easier than the other. Let's see. There's a video game on, I think it's EA Games, called Fae, spelled F-E. And the main character that you play, well, the whole story is based on Norse mythology. So it's a very rich fantasy world that you run around in. And this main creature that you play, it's really hard to describe. He's all black. He has short, skinny arms and legs, and has like a wolf-like head with really spiky hair and all black. And the tips are colored with light, and his eyes glow white.
Okay.
And a little light on the end of his tail. And what he does through the game is that when you defeat certain bosses and make connections with major animals and mythological creatures in this game, is that you learn how to speak their language. So there's no actual speech in the game. Instead, it's howling, chirping, animal imitations. And you control that by how much you pull the trigger down. Anyway, as this character learns other languages, when he switches to that mode, the color of light on the tips of his spikes and tail will change color. And I'm thinking that I could put together a costume like that and put in LEDs to adjust the light the same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, probably the biggest and hardest project, I had the base idea for probably 30 years ago, which was probably longer than that. I was playing around as a kid and I was being creative, and I rolled up this blanket diagonally, and I thought, hey, it kind of looks like a tail, thick on one end, and tapers off and thins out. And I put a belt around it, and I got on all fours, and I put it over my feet, and then I would wag it around. I thought, I could be a lizard. So I got that base idea. So it just simmered in the back of my mind for all these years. And I became a major fan of How to Train Your Dragon, especially since I grew up with animals. The expressions they did on Toothless and the other animals were just perfect. They were exquisite. So maybe I can make a Toothless costume to where I'm on all fours, I can wag the tail. Thing is, I got to put in certain reflectors because the face, well, the way it's complicated. Okay, if this were how the dragon is, above the ground and his face is facing this way, but if I'm in that position in a costume, my face is going to be this way.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to have these reflectors to be able to see out forward. I've already made a couple of dragon costumes to where I was standing up and had fully extendable wings, twice my arm's length.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
You almost need one of those prisms that they use when you want to look at the eclipse, where you're looking at it, but then it goes up and over so you can actually see, but have it reversed if you wanted to do that.
Have you ever taken apart a pair of binoculars?
Yes.
It has a couple of glass pieces which are just the right angle. I used to take everything apart.
Just to figure out how it works.
Yeah, I'd make new stuff out of it. So if I do that, I'm going to be a little bit older and a little more out of shape. I'm going to have to hire a bodyguard, keep the kids from jumping on my back.
Yeah,
On the
right.
ride.
Exactly. They would have fun
down,
with
right?
it though.
Might have to get a miniature megaphone and put that into the throat or headpiece to where someone messes with me. I'm like, get them off. So yeah, I've applied to this Doctor Strange costume, electronics, plastic, leather, cloth. I've used just about everything. The only thing I didn't do in it was, well, I might say I might have done a little bit of metalworking. Turns out a lot of props these days, like a lot of toys when I was a kid, are made out of a magnesium alloy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's brittle, but if you're careful, you can drill through it and carve it, stuff like that. You can even set it on fire and it'll go off like a flare.
Nice.
But it has to get it really, really hot. Do not do that at home.
Yeah. Or anywhere else.
Only under grandparent supervision. They're the wise ones.
How did you make your belt? I thought your belt looked awesome. I love the infinity stones on it.
Thank you. I bought an LED strip and a couple of different types of cloth. I use glass beads, which are used for aquarium decoration.
Mm-hmm.
I had to buy a whole bag full and go through and pick out the ones that had the best color, because not many of them were the basic primary and secondary colors. So then I had to use packaging tape to wrap that up with, and then wrap it with a cloth to hide the packaging tape. I'd make a lot of mistakes in all my work, and I hide a lot of mistakes in there.
Well, we couldn't see the mistakes.
So I got a nice long cord, and then I just run it around the belt. I got it zip ties to attach it to a belt that has a lot of holes in it to begin with. Actually, let me dig that out of my drawer. That's something you want to see up close.
Zip ties, we use those all the time on different things. They come in handy to fix it, to repairs, or even to add it to your costume.
Okay. You can see, just how porous the belt is, which allowed me to work with it really easily. Then I put the zip ties through there.
Okay.
One on each side to hold the LED strip on, wrapped it with some extra cloth, which is kind of a metallic black mesh. I didn't realize when I bought it, because it was on a spool, that it was translucent. So I had to really wrap it tight to keep the other lights from shining through.
Right.
Between each stone, there's another 2 lights in there.
Okay.
So I had to hide that all. And I got lots of extra cord. The belts were quite a puzzle, putting those all together and getting them balanced out right, because one tilts one way, the other tilts the other way. And I got to take the tail of one belt and tuck it in through my first belt. So there's 3 of them I use.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The first one I made out of vinyl, which is just like a Cumberbatch. No pun intended, but it's a funny one. By the way, I want to thank Mr. Cumberbatch for doing such a fantastic job and inspiring me. And Jay and Eric, even though we're not in touch anymore, who got me into cosplay, which really filled an empty space in my life.
That's cool.
Definitely a big thank you to them. Without them, we wouldn't have had you this year.
No, and for one of my best memories, a shout out to the 2018 SiouxperCon Maleficent.
Oh.
She just had such a presence and such a glow. I keep a picture of her among some others.
Yeah.
Right on.
She looked phenomenal too.
I had that little levitation ball that had the propellers on it, and
Yes.
I was holding it up in front of her, and she's just, just so into it. the friend took a picture and allowed me to have a copy of it.
Awesome.
All right. Checking the time.
Oh, you're good to go.
Yeah, we got plenty of
Yeah.
time. Right?
Oh, the watch. You got to see the watch up close.
Okay.
I think shopping for all these supplies took almost as long as actually making everything, which was 2 years in the process. I had gotten this on clearance online. Trying to remember the name of the company. They're just being discontinued. But which way is right side up? That's my strange watch.
That's a nice watch. The
I always
gears.
like the watches that show the internal mechanics of it.
Mhm. Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see it on the
Even-
back side.
Yes,
Yeah.
even the glass
Oh,
back. I got this for somewhere around $20, $25.
Wow.
When I finally got it, and I was thinking it would be cheap, and then it's like, this is absolutely perfect. I had used a fabric glue, which was translucent and rubbery, to make fake cracks on it.
Oh,
And then we had some new people joining the cosplay group online, and they were showing off their stuff. And it's like, two of them were saying how they hated buying a watch and then stomping on it to make the cracks on it. They actually broke them. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
So using glue so you don't ruin it and just make fake cracks.
Yeah.
Even Scotch tape, if anybody's still looking for a cheap idea to make fake cracks with.
That's a
nice.
good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm just full of ideas.
Yeah, you are.
Actually, when I was a kid, it used to take me 3 hours to go to sleep at night because my mind would just run and run and run and invent and analyze and everything else.
The creativity in you coming out.
Definitely nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
I do have a question because
Yeah.
now as far as a parade of costumes that's going to be done, the video I submitted had my spell disc on it. In that parade, is that something that would be used to make that video?
So your spell disc was on there. If you watch the video, which was posted yesterday, it shows you at the end of your portion, it shows it come out and it shows it started.
I overlooked it somehow. I was looking for the first post at the starting of the con, and it was like post, another 50 posts. I was scanning through them quickly, trying to get information.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it
definitely
yet.
had a little
Okay.
bit of a glitch when the video was set to run at 5 p.m. yesterday. It was set for the wrong day, so we had to have our technical team go in and fix that to get it posted. So it ran a little after about
Okay.
5:20 or so. Mhm.
So
Yeah,
if
we'll see it.
there's good search tags attached, then I should be able to look it up and find it.
Definitely, and we can send you a link to the video itself so you have it.
All right. Now I'm bringing that up because in that spell disc in the background, it looks like light reflecting off of water.
Mhm.
I had to go to an extreme to get that FX. I happen to have an Xbox One, and I make forge maps on Halo 5.
Nice.
So I created a strange studio in which to do my special effects.
Oh, wow.
That's where I got that pattern.
Oh, wow.
I'm even using Spark FX to create a portal, but the green screen effect I'm using with a green wall behind it, the sparks are too bright and they flood out the green, so I haven't been able to transfer that yet.
Okay.
So I'll go into the gameplay, go into theater mode to where I can just float around with the camera and get any view I want, and then record that, transfer it to my computer, transfer it to my video editor, and into my spell disc. That was quite a chore. That took a while to think of. Because I'd already searched online for special effects, and I went through I use Filmora 9, And they have an archive of special effects, and they don't have sparks. They don't have lightning. So that's why I had to reach out in other directions. Then there used to be, which isn't there anymore, a mandala generator online. It had a few glitches. I had to learn to work my way around it, but I had used that to create my patterns.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I've got an archive in my computer of probably 20 different types of spell discs, including the time disc. I got some combinations. I've got a nice turquoise blue version of Strange's spell disc, even though it's my own original pattern. I don't want to break any copyrights. By the way, Marvel Studios, I did make an attempt to contact you to ask your permission and guidance on how to do birthday parties, and you didn't answer me. What, a year and a half ago? I have an audio editor, tone generator and audio editor, to where I take special effects off of Filmora, royalty-free stuff, and go through that and match it up with my spell disc. And then I put a little Velcro on my pocket recorder to where I hit that button and my remote control for starting the spell disc. I hit those at the same time, so I got some sound that goes with it. It's not loud enough to use on stage, but in person with the crowd, it has its charm.
That's
Nice.
cool.
It's an example of the original video files and then the memory files, which is an Oriental type of technology. There's very little compatibility with the Western tech that we use. So you got to have a special program to. You have to have a video file in a special format and a certain resolution. Then you transfer it into that, and then you got to have a memory card plugged into your computer because it's the only place it'll download it to. Then it goes onto a micro card. Then it plugs into the display fan.
Oh.
So testing had been extensive to where I would make a video of the spell disc with right brightness and color, and then I'd produce the final file, plug it in, find out that the color's wrong or the outlines aren't right, and then erase that, go back to the original video, make more adjustments, and do it over again. And for a few of my best spell discs, I had to edit those probably 50 times each.
A lot of work.
And you also mentioned to me earlier that when you got that device, it came in a different language. That you had to.
Yeah, it was in Chinese.
Yeah.
And it was just very basic instructions. So an acquaintance of mine had just, let's see, sometimes I speak faster than I'm thinking, which is rare. An acquaintance of mine had just married an Asian woman, and so he decided to get online and use the name of the device and try to find something in English. And he couldn't. Everything was in Chinese all over the place. And so he just started randomly going through websites and then accidentally found the right one.
Oh, cool.
So actually, the way it works, and the instructions and the uploading and downloading are actually very, very simple. So I don't know why the company that sold it to me, I contacted them several times and they just wouldn't give me anything in English. They could talk to me as customer support in English, but they couldn't give me directions.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe they didn't have any.
Yeah, it was probably a middleman retailer. So they bought it from somebody else and decided to sell it to me. I had searched for several months just to find the one that was under $300. Got it on sale. I don't remember exactly how much I spent on that. That was a couple of years ago. But actually, that type of product, they're starting to make fans with 4 blades and they're making them all kinds of sizes, and they're originally designed to display advertisements in stores to be mounted up on walls.
Okay.
And the first time I saw those was that on YouTube, there was a Oriental girl with no explanation who's holding up 2 spell discs. She had some mask on, didn't look like Doctor Strange, but she had her own thing going, and had the patterns on the fans displaying our own little spell discs. So I thought that was really cool, and tried doing some research on it, and there was no information. So about half a year later, an American woman figured it out and made her own. She didn't reveal any secrets. She kept it all hidden. So I had to spend a long time on the internet searching light display, digital display, fans spinning, this, that, everything else. It turns out this falls under the specific name, LED hologram display fan. Finally found it.
It was one of those where you would think it would be easier to find if you use technical words, where you just needed those simple words to actually find it through online.
Yes, and the company that makes them, well, I suppose because the original language is in Chinese, that the tags they put on the product for internet searches are going to be extensive, but when it's translated to English or German or whatever else, is that there's going to be very few tags, which makes it really hard to find.
Yep. With that disconnect in the language, we have complex words where theirs are simple and to the point. So tell us more about your cosplay costume. What did you do with the robe that you said that you repurposed?
The very first robe I used was just a really thick fleece blue robe, and I just put on my reading glasses, took out my smallest scissors, and looked for the seam on the collar, and just picked loose all of the threads to just carefully remove it. Pick all the loose threads out, take off all the extra sleeve, you know, this excessive sleeve they put on, like they make sweaters these days. Made to fit Sasquatch. So I just trimmed that down and got a piece of vinyl, folded it over a couple of times, and made cummerbund, that's that name. Not cumberbatch, cummerbund, pretty close. And then got a couple other belts, put that around. And the second one I had to search over a year for, and finally found a men's clothing site where I bought this with great fear and apprehension, a silk robe. So I had to cut the arms off of a $50 silk robe. At first it was hard enough finding a summer robe, one that's lightweight, and one that's really cool. I already sweat in my costume in spite of all the thin layers I use. So actually for that new robe I'm making, that piece, the deep blue silk around the collar, are the sleeves from the previous strange costume that I use. So I keep leftover material and I just use as much of it as I can.
Repurpose, reuse as much as you can, save a little bit of money while you're making it.
Absolutely.
So when you sew, do you hand sew or do you use a sewing machine?
I do not have a sewing machine.
Wow.
I hand stitch all of that stuff.
That's incredible.
And because I don't have that natural chemistry, the first thing I do when I get a piece of cloth is that, because you don't want the threads coming loose, fold it over just slightly one time, and then just kind of loop stitch around it all the way down. And then you'll have a few, waves and bends in it. And then you fold it over one more time, and then you can really get it straightened out. And that way it doesn't come unraveled on you either when you're
Yeah, you definitely don't want
you're doing your action scenes.
to.
I had to upgrade my magnets and the cloak of levitation a couple of times because I go to do a pose and it would pop off my shoulder, and So first, I had first ones are about a 1/4 inch in diameter, and I upgraded to a full inch in diameter, rare earth magnets, to finally get that thing to stay on a windy day. I've been out in the wind on that as well.
That's cool.
I took advantage of those extra fans they had at one convention. It was summer, it was really hot. It's the local convention center. And I thought, everybody's doing these pictures, and I'm thinking, well, a lot of people, including myself for a long time, didn't realize that we're doing like class photo poses. Just standing there with your arms down and smiling.
Yep.
You got to think about what the character would be doing, what their expressions are, and practice that a few times. And one of these great big fans was set up nearby, and I thought, I've got a cape, and capes are for waving in the wind. Like, hey, take a picture of me over here, or maybe a little video clip. And then there was a rogue from X-Men who did the same thing and made for a really good shot. So little elements like that you put into it to really expand your cosplay.
Definitely. Oh, we have we have one person, Ella, she wanted to make a suggestion for you about your blue one that you're just making. She says there's a holographic heat transfer vinyl that you can use that has holographic texture. You might want to consider that if you're wanting to make the back of your new blue robe less bulky. Is that something you've thought about?
There's a product and a machine called Cricut, and I think she's thinking of that.
Yep.
Yeah, we have
I did check out all their materials, and their holographic ones have paper backing and won't work good on clothing. However, that reminds me of something. Now, as far as the cloak of levitation and the corner pieces, the wing pieces, I found some of that material to use for the next one.
Oh, great.
Oh, cool.
And I'll even get some tips. The first thing to do is that I had some leftover clear vinyl, which try not to go off on a tangent. So I got these shaped first, and I'm going to stitch this onto that because it's a good solid piece. And the adhesive material sticks to that, and it covers the threads attaching it. So it has a peel off back, sticks on. So this is more of a liquid theme in a robe. I think I might call it the cloak of interdimensional integrity.
Nice.
Now, how long does it take you to stitch a robe with doing it from start to finish, like the one you wore for your cosplay? How long did that take you? Did it take you a month since you're hand stitching it, or?
Let's see. There's just odd days that I work on it occasionally and for unmeasured amounts of time. That one, including that trim and the collar, I should include the remaking of the collar several times. That's a tough one. Now, if I was on a full-time job doing this, I think I'd be able to get that project done within 2 weeks, 80 hours, I guess.
Oh, wow, that'd be pretty fast hand sewing.
Well, I got a certain technique down. Once you get the feel of it, you know how to hold the cloth a certain way, and you can just, unlike with the sewing machine, you can bend the cloth in a few places. Or you can take the needle and you can just, like dolphin in and out of water, just and then pull it through. So you get several stitches with just one pull.
Okay. Now you mentioned with with your cape and the wind and doing poses and stuff, did you have to practice in front of a mirror? Because when you did your stage performance, you did hand movements, at least to me, it looked very accurate. So is that something that you just knew how to do, or did you have to practice?
Oh no, I practice a lot, and I feel like when I watch myself, I have a video camera. I do some nature photography and videography as a hobby on the side, and I'll record myself, and then I'll look over it again. It's like, what am I doing? Doing this confusing stuff. Meant to study it more, and even with certain hand postures I memorize, when I get on stage, I forget them, and then I have to project myself out of my own body and look at myself. It's like, how do I look? They're watching you. Hurry up, get it right, do something.
Right.
I'm very self-critical, and that's actually a good thing for artists, because that's those kinds of artists who are never satisfied with their work just keep making improvements, and that's a uncomfortable but a great quality to have.
But you always tweak it to do something a little bit better.
Yes.
I know we've built some stuff ourselves, and you mentioned it earlier too. You can easily be your own critic.
Yes.
You know, you'll see flaws in your own system, on your own creation, before anyone else ever will.
Yes. That is a good thing. That's something else that really helps. When it's really hard to find supplies, it's a good idea to just go browsing, and I would include not just arts and crafts stores, but just go look around all sections that you think have nothing to do with your costume. You'll find new stuff that'll just, yeah, I can use that. And
Right.
even the hardware store has lots of great stuff.
Yes, yes, I do.
That's where I got my soldering supplies, actually. And
So what else do you want us to know about your costume that you made, with putting it together or constructing it?
here's a really good tip. I find, like with my new cloak, if you got two different colors on two different sides and you're stitching through them and just trying to make a short project, a really lightweight fishing line is practically invisible on both sides, and it's compatible with both sides to where you don't have to change colors of thread.
Oh, that's a very good tip.
Fishing line works wonders, especially that thin, the clear one. It works great, and you can get it at a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Tying the knots on the end are a little difficult. I should give a quick example. When you get the end of the thread, just tying a typical called half something. They weren't very thorough in teaching me the knots names in Boy Scouts.
Yes.
They teach you how to do
half
it.
hitch. So on fishing line and nylon thread on a half hitch, when you put a little pole on it, that knot will slide right off. So what you have to do is loop it over first, then tie your knot. Trim off the extra piece, use a lighter. Don't put it in the flame, but just put it near the flame and just let it start melting and ball up. And then just leave it, and that'll secure it.
Nice.
Definitely. Goes back to being able to walk through a store, especially like Walmart and, or Target or whatever store you shop at, and even hit the camping, fishing, and hunting area, and you'll find something to add.
Yes.
Nice.
Let's see, what kind of other stuff out of the... do I have that picture with me? For Halloween last year, I made the sword Dr. Strange used against Thanos on Infinity War.
Nice.
And while I'm looking for the picture, I'll say that I had used this clear vinyl, which I had for other projects, which is the same material they use for windows on Jeeps. It's flexible, it's really strong. So let's see. Having to do this almost made me cry.
Oh,
Silk is really difficult to work with. It's so fine, and it just starts coming apart. So I'd use the clear vinyl. I'd use a spray used for making a frost effect on glass.
Mm-hmm.
I'd use the light which goes to my electric bike, which is really bright, make the handle into the projector light through it. Then I used a tube, which is a protective tube made for fluorescent lights that go up in banisters, the nice long ones. So I put the tube on the inside, frosted that, bent the vinyl around that. I had to do a lot of work with it, and I used packaging tape to hold it together, and I had to remake it several times to get it just right.
Oh, that's cool.
Finally got that sucker put together. I had so much stuff to carry around already that I just dismantled it and using that light back on my bike again. And for that hilt piece, I actually found in the craft store these containers for just storing beads and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that and cut holes on both sides and frosted that, painted it down. Oh, and the orange effect is from amber colored cellophane, which is extremely difficult to work with. You start cutting it one way and it just wants to rip and peel off in another direction.
Oh, jeez.
I think I used 5 layers of that in there for that picture, or for that, to balance out the lighting on it.
Awesome. I just wanted to say we got 9 minutes left. So if anybody that's watching has any questions for Sage, please go ahead and post them and we can have a little ask and answer question going on. But until we get some questions, we'll just continue to talk.
All right.
So a little off the subject. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
That's one of my first spell disc designs.
That's cool.
I know when it comes with our builds and stuff, we always have a problem, or not problem, but a mess.
Yeah.
How do you organize your stuff? Do you use like bins? Do you have an organization system?
I put them in grocery bags and put them in a cabinet, but I put them in a certain order. In one cabinet, it's all my tools, and another, it's all the cloth and ribbons and strings, buckles, nylon belts. So I'm fairly organized. I use fancy containers, but I keep them in very specific places.
Okay.
Okay, nothing wrong with that as long as you can find what you're looking for.
Right.
Unlike me, I put some on the shelf, go, okay, I put it there. And then like, it could be like an hour later, where did I put that? And then she comes up and goes, you put it right there. And I'm like, I don't remember that.
For sure. If you want, and if it's allowed, I can share the websites that I have.
Yeah, definitely.
I made a new page on Facebook. I gave up on the old one for a while and thought about a better way to put it together, just to minimize everything. On Facebook, I'm under Dr. Strange Sage, S-A-G-E.
Okay.
And my YouTube channel for cosplay is under the same name. Now, just in case it doesn't show up under that, because YouTube's been changing their settings recently, and the original name I had on there was, let's think, changed it 2 times. The Feral Time Sage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I got a game video channel, the Feral Sage, to do some of my Halo stuff.
Now you're into Halo. Have you built a Halo armor yet? Is that something we're going to be able to see from you soon?
No, that's not my style. I make game maps.
Nice.
Nice.
So where did the name Sage come from?
When I was working as a grocery stocker back in the 90s, I was talking to a friend who was in college, telling him about my studies about the origin and structure of the universe, which I started at age 11. I am a deep science mind, very philosophical. I had, for those who would understand it, sometimes you can put out a question to the universe and just wait for a sign or an answer of some kind. And I was asking, what's the best of myself I can build my life upon? And then I was talking to this friend, and he was studying some philosophy and history in college, and said, you sound like the ancient sages. That's the kind of stuff they would know. And then I went to look it up, and it said that a sage is pretty much a cross between a scholar and a wise man.
Oh, nice.
So I adopted that as my nickname. My legal first name is Shannon, but I got tired of people calling me Sean and Shane and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on legally changing it now.
Oh, well, I like the name Sage.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My new last name is going to be Christalman.
Crystalman?
Nobody has that name.
Sage Crystalman. That'll be awesome. We'll have to keep an eye out for it.
This was fun in Denver.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Pulling me to the dark side.
I hear they say they got free cookies, so.
That's right. That's what they were saying yesterday.
Yep, they didn't clarify there were computer cookies.
Oh, yeah, no one wants those.
Oh, before this session, I was starting to think of a good joke, and I'm just now remembering. Maybe I
Okay.
can put it together really fast for the last minute. Oh, I was going to start off wearing a mask and then try to prompt you to ask me why I'm wearing a mask during a video call. And I would say that I didn't want to catch a computer virus.
That'd be clever.
Nice.
Nice. That's awesome. So what we got, let's see, 3 minutes left. Is there anything else that you want us to know about your
Any other
cosplay,
shout-outs?
any other shout outs that you want to make?
I made an effort a few times to try to move to the Denver area. And when I went to their convention down there, I actually got an invitation from the Oath Keepers charity group. And I wasn't able to join them, which is why I thought that try to contact Marvel Studios to see if I can work independently, do parties. And since the coronavirus, I thought that I would try learning green screen and putting in some more special effects and see if, once it lightens up some, contact the local hospitals and ask them if I can either visit some kids who are Strange fans or maybe do a personalized video message.
That'd be awesome.
So I'm passing that idea around.
That'd be
Definitely.
really cool. I think you should really look into that. We personally know many people that do
Mhm.
that, so, and they love doing it. So
Yes.
I think you would really love doing it yourself.
Especially for the kids.
It
I
always,
have to at least one day walk into some kid's room in a hospital, just dressed like a doctor
Yeah.
and say, oh, it's safe, take the mask off and all, and then show them Dr. Strange underneath. That would be such a trip. That's my next big dream.
Well, we do have Charlie, who is our board of directors. He does say thank you to you for being a part of our cosplay parade. So we were all extremely pleasantly surprised to see what a wonderful job you did. So thank you again. And I just want to sit there and say congratulations. You blew me away when I seen it. I was like, oh my God, his is awesome. It was amazing.
I got some fun YouTube videos you would like to check out that has more special effects in it. And I want to thank you folks very much for going virtual, because I'm self-quarantined because my employer is elderly. So my already near solitary social life has been further restricted. And I was just getting really lonely and anxious and cabin fever and all. So
Yeah.
you folks really helped me just get back out into the world again. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to help, and we're so glad that you're a part of our cosplay online.
yes, thank you for
Someday I want to visit my hometown of Watertown again, so I'll see if I can another convention of yours.
Nice. We
Yes,
look forward to
very
seeing
much.
you next
I'm
year.
east of the river, baby.
Well, if you want to join our cosplay next year, we will be helping on the same October 3rd and 4th. So come out and see us and join the fun again.
Will do. And as I do all the video and audio stuff. And Charlie mentioned that if I wanted to help out next year, I
Yeah.
could, and that's something I have to offer, and even if it's still virtual.
We'd be happy to have you. Thank you so much, Sage. It
Thank
was
you,
great
Sage.
talking with you. You have a great day, and hopefully we see you next year.
Thank you,
Next
and
time.
may time be on your side.
Right. And on yours.
All right. Talk to you later, Sage.
Bye.
Bye.
Next time you'll see us, we got an interview with Thomas from Much Props. And until then, look forward to seeing more stuff coming from SiouxperConline. See you guys.
See you guys later.